Hey guys, welcome back to another video. Today we're going to be doing something a little different. I'm going to be creating my husband's dream crew neck outdoor rink hockey sweater out of this Bergeron Boston Bruins jersey. So download the pattern below and you can follow along with me and make one of your favorite team. So let's get started. Okay, so I finally finished creating my pattern pieces. So I've got my arm piece that looks something like this. I've got my front piece, and then also my back piece. And then we have our collar, cuff, and bottom band pieces. So I'll link down below where you can get this ribbed knit material if you so choose to do that for your cuffs, collar, and bottom of the sweater. And I wanted to get into some of the materials I'm going to be using today. So I'm going to be using a little bit of a thinner batting material that I usually use. I have this left over from another project. And then I'm also going to be using just a black flannel. I think that is going to be pretty much it, other than the physical jersey itself. So now what I'm going to do is start cutting out my pieces, and I'll show you exactly how many pieces you're gonna need of each. So I'm going to start cutting, and then I'll let you know how many pieces and how to assemble them in just a sec. So now I'm going to cut out my front and back pieces of the batting. I'm only going to need one of each. So one for the front and one for the back.
This is as good a day as any to start the rebuilding of life. The roads that lay open are many when the old one's gone under the knife. And I can feel.
Going to remove this fighting strap on the jersey. Okay, so now that I've opened up the bottom here, I'm going to seam rip the sides and open these up as well. So basically now at this stage, I'm going to cut the jersey. So I think I'm going to start with my arm piece, which is this, and we're going to line it up centered and making sure that we're getting our nice beautiful number in the middle. So I'm going to go ahead and pin this down, and then we can go ahead and cut that out. So I'm going to do that now. So now what we're gonna do is place the arm cutout that we just did right on top of the other one to make sure the placement is the exact same. And then we'll cut out this arm.
I've been gone for too long, standing here a while just to take it all in. Radio's playing our song, and then you stood there smiling at me.
Basically, when you're making a larger size of this pattern, you may experience that you might not have enough jersey material to cover it. And that's okay, because we can always, with the scraps, add a little bit to the sides afterwards. So I think what I'm gonna do is just center this. I'm gonna include 2 of the stripes on the back and then making sure to include 2 on the front, leaving about that much fabric at the bottom so I can use this extra scrap fabric to add in any areas that I need to. So yeah, we're gonna just start by centering this and then we'll cut it out. Okay, so essentially what I'm doing now is I'm going to fill in these little extra gaps that we're missing in terms of material from the jersey. So I have cut these little strips, and basically I'm just going to attach them right here on both sides. So essentially, if I zoom in here, I'm going to pin them right sides together. So this side. Pin it all the way across. And this is basically just going to add a little bit of extra fabric that we can work with. Great. Okay, so now you have your pins there. Look like this on the other side. Then I'm basically going to sew along this edge right here to add that extra piece of fabric that we need to complete the pattern. So I'm going to do this on both sides of the back and the front as well. So just cut little strips from your scraps that you have laying around and you should be good. However, if your jersey is large enough that you don't need to do this, then even easier. So only do this step if your jersey won't quite fit on the pattern itself. So what I've done so far is I've sewed on these little extra pieces on both sides, on the front and the back. So that's great. Now I'm basically going to trim the excess fabric on the front and the back, and we'll be good to move to the next step. So next I'm going to attach this patch that I removed from one of these shoulder pieces. So I'm gonna move it here, and it's got a bit of the tack left on it, so I'm gonna see if it will iron down. Make sure it's straight. All right, that worked quite nicely actually. now I'm going to sew on my little label. Okay, so now what I think I'm going to do is I'm going to attach my layers together. So we have our jersey layer, our lining layer, and then our batting. So I'm going to actually pin and sew these edges down. So all the way down, and we're gonna do this for all the pieces. So you have your 2 sleeves here, you have your back piece, and then your front piece as well. So you're gonna be just sewing the edges down, which is gonna be securing those 3 layers together. So make sure to take the time to iron it out first and make sure those layers are really aligned perfectly before you sew them down. So I'm gonna go do that now, and I will meet you back here for some sewing.
Give me love, give me all your love, oh, 'cause I want you. No one else makes me feel this way, don't know what you do. Hold my hand, could you hold my hand, look me in the eyes. You and me, yeah, that's all I need, and I'll be alright. I'll be...
Okay, so I've gone ahead and done the first part of the next step just to demonstrate what we need to do here. So if we take a look at this front side of the sweater, we can see that I've added these tape lines or quilting lines, as I like to call them. Basically what I'm using is just this really thin tape that I always use for my quilting lines. You can get this on Amazon, and it's really great. And it's not too tacky, so you can just sort of adjust it as you go. But basically, what I'm doing here is I'm creating some diagonal diamond shape quilting lines. In my past videos, I've created just sort of straight across quilting lines, and you can really get creative here. You can decide exactly how you want your quilting pattern to look, if you want any at all. But I thought it'd be really cool to try sort of a diamond shape quilting lines. And what I've done here is I've basically just taken my handy ruler, my meter stick here, and I started off by adding 1 strip of tape from corner to corner. And then basically I measured 4 inches. So I look on my ruler for 4 inches, and I measured them 4 inches apart, like this, and then just added my tape. And then once that one side was done, I basically did the exact same on the other side. So did a nice diagonal one, and then 4 inches, 4 inches, 4 inches. So I'm gonna go ahead and do that for the rest of the pieces, and I'll join you back here in a sec. Okay, also I just want to mention a little efficiency tip here. I did both ways for my quilting lines, but I'm realizing now that it would have been a lot more efficient having just done one way diagonal, taping and then sewing, and then taping and then sewing the other way diagonal.
I
Okay, now that I've finished all of my quilting on all of the pieces, looking great so far. So you can see. Basically next we're going to take our cuff and collar pieces and we are going to fold them over and sew. So the largest piece is going to look like this and it's going to be on a fold. So we're going to fold that over and then we can pin this and then sew right along here. Make sure it's right sides facing. So we have this piece, which is gonna go along the bottom of the jacket. And we have two cuffs. So again, you're gonna have these pieces that look like this, and then we're gonna be folding them right sides facing, like so. And then sewing along that edge, doing that for both pieces. And then also for the collar, we're gonna take our piece, fold it over, and then pin and sew right along this edge. So I'm gonna go ahead and sew these down, and then we can continue to the next step. Okay, now that we've sewn all of our cuffs and collars, we're gonna put those aside for now, and we're gonna start assembling our outer jacket. So the first step is to take your front and back pieces, flip them to be right sides facing, like so. And we're gonna go ahead and pin and sew the shoulders. So this side and this side. Okay, so now that we have our shoulders sewn together, next we're gonna attach our sleeve pieces. So basically what you're gonna do is you're gonna take your sleeve openings on the front and back side here, and you're gonna match corner to corner of the armpit, essentially. And for this part, I'm gonna use clips as it's a little bit easier as the fabric gets thicker. So I'm basically just going to work my way from one side of the opening all the way across to the other side. So front to back, and you're gonna wanna do it sort of take your time doing this, as you're gonna wanna ease it in as you go. If there's any extra fabric, just kind of move your clips around and ease it in and get it to fit. So basically just continue all the way along like this. Okay, when you start to get to the other side, we can align the edges like this. And then continue clipping all the way up like this. Okay, so it should look like this. You have your shoulders, and that's one sleeve sewn, clipped on. So now I'm going to sew this down and then do the other side as well. Okay, so now that we have attached both sleeve pieces, we can now do the sides. So under the sleeve and then along the side. So I'm gonna flip it inside out again, like this. Okay. And then now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my sleeve, line it up with the other side, and I'm basically going to clip all the way down to the armpit, to all the way to the bottom. And then I'm going to do that on both sides, and we're going to sew. So one straight line from the bottom of the sleeve to the side, one straight seam. Making sure our corners are matched.
I'm waiting at the doorstep, finally home.
And all the way up.
I've been gone for too long. Standing here a while just to take it all in.
Okay, now that's all clipped up, I'm going to sew now.
And then you stood there smiling at me, as so many times before. I'll never wanna be away.
Okay, so now that we have completed sewing the outer jacket, we are going to now do our lining. And basically what we're going to do is we're going to take, it's the same process essentially as what we just did for the outer jacket. So you're going to take your front and back pieces. So here I have my back piece that has my label. The back piece, of course, has the smaller scoop, and we're going to do right sides facing and then attach our shoulders together. So exact same process as we just did. So again, clip those edges, edge to edge on both shoulders. Okay. So now that I have this side clipped together, I'm going to sew this, and then I will sew the other shoulder, and then after that we can do the arms. So I'm going to sew this first. Okay, so now that we have finished doing our shoulders, we can now add our sleeves. Again, we're gonna add this the same way we added the sleeves for the outer shell. So we're gonna take one of our sleeves and we're gonna do right sides facing. So we're gonna again open up our sides here, and we'll do right sides facing, corner to corner, and we're just gonna clip all the way through to the other side. We have it all clipped down, and now I'm going to sew. Okay, so I have now sewn on both arms, and basically now we need to attach the sides. So I'm going to do the same thing I did before, is meet the sleeves edge to edge here, right at the cuff, pin or clip all the way to the armpit, and continue clipping or pinning all the way to the bottom. So we're going to pin and clip that whole area and then sew straight down, just the same as we did with the outer layer. All pinned or clipped down, I should say. Now I'm going to sew. Okay, so next what we're going to do is we're going to attach our cuffs. So we had previously sewn cuffs like this, where we sewed across. We're basically just going to take the edges and fold over till you have a nice looking cuff like that. And then now we're going to insert into the sleeve. And don't worry about your little fluffies everywhere. We're gonna delint those after. So you're gonna take your sleeve inside out like that, and we're gonna take our cuff, having the raw edge out, placing seam to seam here. So the edge and this edge, and then we're gonna place it inside our cuff like this. Okay. Now we're going to clip all the way around. Stretching as you go. Okay, now that that is clipped down, we're basically gonna sew along this edge here. So you're gonna wanna move the fabric away that you're not sewing and just sort of do it slowly.
Found myself in the cardboard box.
Nice. So now we have a little cuff. So I'm gonna pass by a second time actually, and then I will do the other cuff. All right, so next we have our collar, this piece here, which we earlier sewed. Going to take that and fold it over like so. And we're gonna take that edge here and we're gonna place it right in the corner. This. Okay. Again, our raw edge is sticking up, and we are going to work our way around.
We look to the mountains. We don't care if it's only a dream. Nothing is really what it seems anyway.
Okay. So what I'm doing now is I've gone ahead and done the same thing with the waistband as we did for the collar and the cuffs. So basically you just fold it over, place the raw edge up, place seam to seam in the corner, and then clip along the edge here.
So mine, but without you, I'm lost.
Okay, great. Now that we're all clipped down, we can sew along this edge here.
Soon the walls will be giving in. Anytime now, anytime now. Another shrug of the shoulder.
Okay, so now the next step is to attach your lining to your jacket, right? So start with the collar. So what we're gonna wanna do here is we're gonna wanna flip our outer layer inside out, take our inner lining, attach collar to collar. So we're gonna wanna roll it in just a bit. Take where that seam is, place the seam of the lining up. And remember, we're folding that in just a bit. We're gonna press that right to that corner, and we're gonna clip.
I guess I'll be walking home in the rain.
You're gonna wanna make sure your seams again line up together, and then you can work in that extra fabric. So we're basically just placing our two collars together here. And I have a little bit of extra here. I want to work it in. So I'm going to unclip and work it in. Keep doing that until your fabric lays flat. Now we have our two collars together. Now I'm going to just sew along that edge there, all the way around, connecting our two collars together.
I guess I'll be walking home in the rain. I lost you, but then you were mine again.
So it should look like this. Basically just collar to collar, meeting like this. Should have a nice clean finish there. Now what we're gonna do is the sleeves. So we're gonna flip these inside out. The whole thing inside out. So we're going to take our sleeve on our lining, and we're going to take our sleeve on our outer layer, and we can tuck in our little cuff here. And then you might remember this from some of my other videos if you've done some of the other patterns, but basically we're gonna take that, fold it in just a bit, take your other sleeve, make sure it's matching and not twisted at all, and we're gonna want to match our seams seam to seam. So we're basically going to flip that in And we're gonna clip all the way along that edge there. Also, I apologize for this video being, quite dark, as it is winter time here in Canada, so the sun goes down super early, so it doesn't leave much time for brightness. Okay. I'm gonna clip along that edge and just keep folding it in and then clipping. Again, if there's extra fabric, just work backwards, ease it in. Okay, once you've clipped it all down, it should look like this. Now I'm going to sew it down. Make sure to move your sleeves out of the way so you don't sew those by accident.
I'll be right here. I swear that I'll stay here with you.
Okay, so that's sewn together. Again, I would pass by a second time just to secure it, but we can test it out. Make sure it's not twisted. So you're going to stick your arm through and then pull. Great. And that created a really clean edge on the inside of your sleeve. Perfect. So I'm going to secure this and then I will do the other sleeve. Then I'll show you how to do the bottom of the jacket, so the waistband. Okay, so now that we've attached our collars together, our sleeves together, we're now going to want to attach the waistband to our lining. So when everything is inside out like this, we're basically just going to put them together. So taking the lining, flipping it up just a little bit, and then going to be putting them together at the seams and then raw edges facing up. So raw edges together, and we're going to be going all the way around, leaving about a 5 or 6 inch gap somewhere along this path to ensure that we can flip it inside out afterwards. So we are going to pin along this edge. So make sure your seams on the other side are also lined up. You could always ease it in after. If there's any extra fabric, just work backwards and ease it in.
Give me love, give me all your love, give me all your love.
I'm going to leave my gap about that much. It's about 7 or 8 inches, I would say. But I'm going to leave that much of a gap. And then the rest is all pinned here. You can see all the way around. So basically I'm going to sew all the way around and then stop before this gap. just to leave that open so that we can flip it inside out after.
Give me love, give me all your love, give me all your love. Give me love, give me all your love, give me all your love.
Okay, that's all sewn down, and I'm gonna pass by a second time just to secure it. Okay, so I've secured that down, and now what we're gonna do is we're gonna pass everything through this little hole that we've left. So if you made a big enough hole, it should be fairly easy. Okay, shake it out. Whew. Pull everything through. Okay. Great. And we're almost there. Basically, what we have left is this little hole remaining, right? So basically, what you can either do is you can pin it down and you can pass by a machine stitch, or you can fold it down and do a hand stitch. And I think I might do a hand stitch just because I'm a perfectionist and I really want it to look as clean as possible. So I think I'm gonna do a little invisible stitch just to finish that off, and then we should be good. Okay, so I'm gonna do my classic invisible stitch, which I've done in most of my videos now, so if you know, you know. But in case you haven't seen any of my other videos, I will do a quick demo, but I'm not gonna go as in depth. You can check out my tips and tricks video, and that will show you in slow motion exactly what you need to do, but I'll show you the basics and I think you'll get it. So probably, I don't know, I usually take about an arm's length worth of thread. You thread your needle, of course, and then you connect the ends together like so. And then I'm gonna like do a little double knot right there. So try to get your knot right on top of the other knot. Boom, we did it. I'm gonna do a third one just to be extra safe. Okay, this is our knot. It's looking good. All right, so now I'm gonna take my little opening here and we're just gonna start. Let me try to tilt this down so you can see. Okay, you can basically start anywhere. Try to start in a little bit of a hidden groove here. Okay. Then it's basically going to be some horizontal stitches. So we're going to go in about that much. Place your finger in the thread here just to make sure it doesn't get tangled. pull to tighten. Again, keep making sure it's not tangled. Then we're going to meet on the other side, do another horizontal stitch. Okay. Another horizontal stitch on the other side. Like this. Okay. And you basically just go back and forth like that. Just horizontal on one side, horizontal on the other side. And eventually you'll have your invisible stitch. Tighten as you go. Make sure it's really secure. And that's pretty much it. You just keep doing that, and then at the end you'll pass through a couple times, do another double knot, secure at the end, and that's really it. So I'm gonna finish this up, and I won't bore you, and I will meet you back to show you the full finished product. All right, guys, this is the final look. Super happy with it. It's like -10 outside and I am really toasty. Turned out super good. This is a large for reference. Be sure to download the sewing pattern below if you haven't already. Subscribe to the channel if you want more tutorials like this. And yeah, I'll see you in the next video. Bye.